Okay, fine. And if you get with her, then you should understand that's what she does. You can have a conversation with her, and she can choose to accept or not accept said consent and boundaries, or you can kick rocks at the end of the day. But no relationship works unless you have that conversation, and it starts from there and it works from there. I think that's just the basics, and it's very easy. You can do what the fuck you want. Anybody can do what the fuck they want. If you want to have this type of relationship A, you can do that. If you want to have a relationship all the way over to Z, you can have that. But the partner you're with should also be made aware of that and consent to said thing.
And I would say that some woman that's acting that way is not taking ownership over her role as a mother and as a. Back to the root of the conversation, right? She's not taking ownership of her role because she is, in fact, a role model for her children. And if she's acting in that way, then that's what she's presenting as normal to her children, and they will come to expect that. The same as if a woman's in a relationship where her husband is beating her, right, or smacks her around or something like that, and the children see that. Well, what do they expect normal to be? This is why social workers have such a problem in trying to get children removed from homes like that, or why it's such a big deal, because that's what they get perceived to be normal,
do you think
right?
So,
let
CTV finish. He's almost.
You're right. My bad. Go ahead.
So as soon as they see that this is what's normal, right? And that's the example when they get older that they're going to be seeking out subconsciously, because that's what they see as normal. That's why, like, if the children are not brought out of that relationship or out of that situation from those relationships because there was a lack of ownership to what their role was, then they end up growing up thinking that kind of shit is normal, and it's fucking not. So ownership of your role is very important.
Wait, so if she wasn't a celebrity, would you change your mind at all?
Doesn't matter celebrity or not to me.
So this is where I have the difference at. If we remove the fact that she's a celebrity and a grown woman went out and dressed this way, that's her prerogative. I mean, you can choose as the man not to like that, divorce, or separate. I don't do whatever the fuck you want.
But if you
the kids would never know that, because if she can take the role of a mother and go do what the fuck she wants at nighttime. I don't give a fuck what she does at nighttime. She's a grown ass woman. I don't care.
Okay, so at the point where let's clarify, I'm not seeking to pass legislation over this kind of shit, but it doesn't mean that my personal opinion that she's a hoe and she's not taking ownership over her fucking role that she willingly signed up for when she spread her fucking legs.
When did she spread her legs?
You said that she was a mother. Her being a mother and her wanting to dress like this don't have to be mutually exclusive. She can do this on her time and not expose her kids to this.
Exactly. When did her kids just disappear and not still be her responsibility?
Who said that?
That has everything to do with it.
Who said she wasn't responsible? How is she not responsible?
If you're walking around acting that way and seeking out pleasure-seeking behavior instead of focusing in on what your responsibility is, that's exactly what you're doing.
You need to elaborate. You make it.
Why are you walking around looking like a hoe?
You make it sound like she blew 20 dudes or something.
Look, right, I'm the only woman on this panel, so let me say that, like,
that doesn't mean anything.
How I want to dress.
I can identify as one, and I can literally be like, "Oh, this is how I feel."
This is the internet, after all.
Have a good night, everyone. I love y'all.
Thank you.
All right, see you, Tiberius. It's been real.
Bye.
All right, Todd.
Go ahead, Queen.
Bye.
Like, I'm going to dress the way that I want to dress, irregardless of me having a child or me being a mother, because that's my body. That's my confidence, right? And so if I feel confident going out with my girls and, like, looking good, then that's my prerogative. That has nothing to do with my children. I'll have a coat on and kiss my children goodnight, have a good time with the babysitter, or whether that be a babysitter or grandma or father or whoever was gonna handle the children or the child for the night. I'm going out. I'm gonna have myself a good time, and I don't care. My children are not exposed to what I was dressing as, how I look like, or anything of that sort. I had a coat on. I had a coat on before I left the house, so that way my child would not see what I was going to wear if they were old enough to do that. And if my child was a baby, a couple months old, fuck that. The baby ain't going to remember how I was dressed. I'm going to kiss that baby goodnight and say, I'm gonna have myself a good time.
And that's a very selfish way to look at it, and you probably shouldn't have had a fucking kid if you're in that situation.
It is a selfish way to look at it.
That is selfish.
That is really
No, it's
bad.
not.
That is so selfish.
Yeah, it
Fuck
is.
out of here.
Yes, it is.
That is selfish.
You know, you don't have any kids. That's obviously you're speaking from having no kids at all.
Listen. This is
Yeah, that's selfish.
thing I mentioned. This is the exact same thing I mentioned earlier with my mom. My mom felt guilty because we make moms feel guilty, like y'all are doing right now. We make moms feel guilty for not wanting to go out and have a good time when they have.
Why are you not trying to figure out how to go out and have a good time with your kids? Why's it got to be going out with your girl so you can hoe around the bar?
That has nothing to do.
Has everything to do with it.
You're putting an expectation that a woman is going to whore around.
You're saying that it's okay to go walk around, hoeing around in a fucking bar and leave your kids with somebody else and absolve yourself of all responsibility. That's selfish.
About hoeing around.
I also have a question, Queen.
You're policing the way that someone's dressing as being a hoe, but being a hoe does not preclude being dressed a certain way. Okay.
Really? So if police officers,
wait, CTV. Evan's after her.
But
it's like, just let a woman be. Just let her be, to go out and have a good time. It's one night. It's one night for a couple hours, and then she'll be back. And ain't nothing changed from the time that she left to the time that she came back. She's still the child's mother. She's still gonna the mother. The child is still gonna love the mother. Nothing is going to change in that sense.
Selfish.
This is my okay. So you are you're Islamic faith, right? Is that correct,
Yes,
Queen?
I
Okay.
am.
So in the sense of ownership, of you taking responsibility, you have the responsibility of following your religious texts. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So does it not say that you should, go out and dress like a hoe? Isn't that against the ideology of that?
No, it has nothing. There's nothing that says.
Spaniard, you're my translator with the Islamic texts and stuff like that. Is it true?
Yeah, it's false. She's living a fallacy. She's definitely not following the Muslim faith at all whatsoever. If she thinks that a woman can just go out there and dress or dress like that, that's bullshit. She's lying.
Because I know Spaniard. Spaniard has been one of the people who criticizes a lot of shit about Muslims. He knows a lot of his fucking facts. That's why I said Spaniard. Question: is it say in the religious text that you should not do this? He confirms it. Like that. So
I mean, where? Like,
yeah, you have to have responsibility.
Give me a surah. Give me a surah. Give me a surah. Give me a surah. Give me an ayah. Give me an ayah. Give me a surah that tells me that I can't dress the way that I want to dress.
Then why are you dressed the way you are now?
I was just about to say that. Why? No, you have to.
Why can? I don't think this is to be about her specifically. Come on, guys.
Yeah, this is gross. Like, what the hell?
Is it? No, it's pointing at the fallacy of the idea of going out.
One at a time.
Like it is the choice of Leif to be dressed the way that he's dressed right now. Like it's your choice to be dressed the way that you're dressed right now. It's your choice. No one else's choice.
It's actually a rule in Muslims that you have to dress a certain way. It's a rule.
Yeah, where?
Yeah, hold on a minute. I'm finding. Hold on a second.
Give me something from the Quran that is in it. If you can't give me something specific, then your point is moot to me.
Look, all these people that have been practicing Islam in the Middle East for the last couple thousand years don't have the same understanding of Islam that you do. Okay.
I don't even know what is Islam.
Who cares? That's irrelevant.
I say this. This is what I say. We are all under the same faith. You are allowed to believe and choose the way that you want to believe because God gave you that free will. So if you choose to believe something of the faith, then that's on you. I'm not going to say that you're wrong because, again, we're still under the same faith. Okay.
I don't think so. I think your faith is corrupted.
Wait, let her finish. Whoa, let her finish. Hold on.
I'm never going to shame another Muslim for thinking differently than me because at the end of the day, we're all Muslims. Okay.
Now, my intention was not to shame you. My intention was to point out the fact that you say that people shouldn't have to take responsibility for certain aspects and just be themselves and stuff like that. When religion is a heavily responsible thing that you need to take in account if you actually follow your religion.
No one follows their religion to the text. Like no religion does this. Like you, wait, no. Can I finish? Can I speak? Can I speak? Can I speak? Can I speak?
Hold on. Can I just say one thing?
Can I say one thing
about one thing in Islam? My sins are my own. That's it. Your sins are your own. That's it. I do not take on anybody else's sins than mine. Because that is what I'm responsible for in Islam.
But do you not realize that influences the children as well? Even if they can see it or not see it, if they know that their mama was doing this stuff, does that have any kind of reflection to them? My sins are mine alone. My children's sins are not my sins. But your children see you do this, they will think, oh, this is okay. Do you not see the problematic idea with that?
I see nothing wrong because at the end of the day, it's my responsibility. It's my responsibility. What they want to see is what they see, and me doing my own thing is my taking responsibility for my own sins.
I'm going to explain this to you. If my grandmother or my mother did the stuff that you did, I would be heavily criticizing them for the exact kind of shit.
So if you saw your mother twerking, would you start twerking?
No,
because that's kind of bullshit you're saying. You're saying like, oh,
actually, as a child,
I'm a 26-year-old who pays rent.
That's the point. That's the point. Children.
Children.
No, children are very heavily influenced by their parents, and so
children just don't.
If children see their mama twerking, they're gonna think, "Oh, this is okay."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're gonna think that that's normal to do. It's normal.
I have seen so many fucking videos.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm still stuck. Hold on.
Just relax, Cyrus. We'll slow down for you.
No,
what's going on?
No. Because the original question that I had was, if this lady is doing this on her own time and she's not a celebrity, and her kids ain't seen it, what's the problem? That's my question.
There's no problem.
The problem is that she's not accepting ownership for her role in the life
influencing the kids.
Listen, she's not accepting ownership for the role that she accepted whenever she spread her legs and got pregnant. Right? As soon as she decided to. Oh, it does explain it, because as soon as you are responsible for the life because you help bring it to bear, your life changes because you are now accepting responsibility for this life. That means everything. How is it not being explained?
Okay, you want to know what we want you to. So, in what way is she failing at her role as a mother by doing this on her
setting a bad example?
How?
In what way?
Where are the kids seeing the bad example? Where?
Look, you cannot live in a vacuum where your children don't find out these things. It doesn't happen, right? Especially if it's ever on the fucking internet. If it's on the internet, they're going to find out.
That's why. Yeah, exactly. That's why I said she's not a celebrity and she's not posting.
It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity.
It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity.
She goes viral over stupid shit. Are you kidding me?
So no, I've never gone viral over anything. So that's why I say she's not a celebrity.
You're telling me that you haven't seen stuff on like World Star where it's just two random dudes or two.
I don't care about World Star. We're talking about an individual person.
These are individual people who no one knew about until someone records them.
AI on World Star, that they're just a fabricated people.
Wait, so you think that people go through life and you get randomly recorded and you go viral?
Yes. You can get randomly recorded and go viral.
Just being ridiculous now. Shut the fuck up.
It's ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. How many times have you gone viral? Have I
gone viral? No, because I mind my own business most of the time.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. The question was, this is a normal person. I'm not talking about this woman. I'm not talking about this woman. I asked again, if she was a normal person and she had no celebrity status, would you have a problem if she never showed her kids?
You're obfuscating the responsibility behind
I'm not obfuscating. I'm asking a specific question.
Oh my Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm trying to fucking give it to you. Shut up so I can give it to you. So you're obfuscating the responsibility of motherhood behind this facade of celebrityism, and it doesn't fucking matter whether you're a celebrity or not. The responsibility is still there. Period.
And how are the kids being affected if they never see the thing?
They will see the thing. They will know.
CTV, I want to ask him like, okay, so let's follow what you're saying. Would it ever, in your case, ever be acceptable for a woman to twerk? Like, let's say your kids are grown. Is it okay then?
once your kids are adults and you've done your job, right, of raising them to adulthood, then you are free from the responsibility of their day-to-day lives. But you're still not, you are still responsible to them as a mother and father, but they are adults now, so your relationship does change. But that doesn't mean that you can be friends with your kids and then start going to the club and twerking with them either. Okay. You still have a responsibility to set a good example for them in life. Otherwise, I mean, like this goes back to one of God's 10 commandments. Honor thy father and thy mother, right? That's the commandment. The way that you end up earning that as a parent is by setting the good example. If you set a shitty example, there's no kid out there, period, that's going to say, let me honor my father and my mother just because, right? There are some out there that still love them, but they don't respect them. So if they don't respect them, they don't honor them, right?
This is good. So we have a little bit of common ground, all right? So we all believe that, like, once your kids are 18 and you're a mom, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, within, like, reason, without, like, being criminal or some shit. So we have a good example. We have some common ground. All right. Let's say. All right. So should you wait? Should you be able?
Let me include this caveat. If you then make a decision after they're adults to set a bad example that leads to a divorce, that right there would be you not setting the good example. So you need to choose a partner in life that you're going to be able to continue with. That way you can continue to set good examples. Because there's nothing wrong with, say, doing risky behavior like going up in a hot air balloon or going hang gliding or doing things that are fun and risky like that. But there is a problem with you going out and seeking relationships outside of the marriage, because then that normalizes it for your kids, and then that will ultimately lead to a breakdown in their future relationships.
Okay, cool. So is it so you say, like, if your child sees her in the scantily clad outfit, it's going to be normalized. They're going to think it's okay. So, like, would you say the same thing about drinking or smoking? Should you ever drink or smoke?
Absolutely. Same thing.
Should never. Okay.
It's a psychological domino effect in your family when you do shit like that.
I never saw my dad take a drink, period.
I did, and then I tried it, and thankfully I didn't enjoy it.
As a result, when I've gotten older, I've definitely drank quite a bit here on streams, right? But in my normal day-to-day life, like, I haven't touched alcohol in at least 6 months now, easy. You know what I mean? It's not something that I have to do. It's something that I would do to loosen myself up to be able to get more in character for a panel, because normally, like, this is just me, I'm sober, but, like, going onto a panel, like, give a fuck drops a whole lot less, and my sense of humor goes way up, and I end up making, I still make good jokes as it is, but I make better jokes when I'm drunk, so, But as a result of my dad setting that example, I'm not a lush about it. I'm responsible with how I partake, and I wouldn't go drive. I'd just make sure that all of my responsibilities are handled before I would partake. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it seems like you're
especially when they're young. Young kids learn a whole lot by observing what their parents and in their environment around them is like. Like, children even have mirror neurons where if they see some behavior that's, like, actually something they're focusing hard on, like, the areas of their brain light up in the same way. They're seeing do something.
Instant reflex. My bad.
Did your dog find a plate?
No, my kids are throwing kid shit.
His kid saw Daddy drinking from the martini glass again. He was like, I want some of that Kool-Aid.
I didn't
see, that's one thing they don't do. And they see me do that, and they know not to be at my shit.
You guys shut up. Isle was saying something. I didn't get to hear it because y'all were over talking him. Isle, will you please repeat what you said?
I'm saying that kids, especially infants, from their base development to, like, infancy all the way to, like, 5, 6, like, their minds are like sponges, and they learn how to be human pretty much by watching, like, everything that's going around them. So when they see things in their environment, they learn and they internalize it. They're not going to be able to form, like, concrete memories, but that doesn't mean that their brains are not working, they're not forming. Like, they are taking in the information that they see and using that to piece together what actually it means to be, like, an actual human being and develop as you would expect them to be when they become able to, like, have move around and, like, speak and things of that nature. So it's like very important that you're not, like, doing crazy things in front of your kids, especially when they're that young. Because that is going to be normalized and internalized by the baby, even though they're not even going to be able to have memories of it. They're just going to think that it's totally normal.
A good thought exercise for this would be study history in like ancient Greece, the Spartans, right? At 7 years old, they would take the child from their mother and their parents, and they would send them to Yagogi, where they would become trained to be Spartan warriors from the time that they were 7 to 14. Do you not think that those people back then had conversations about, before they started their civilization and they were going to create the warrior society, how they needed to structure their society in order to be able to create warriors? So they understood everything that we're talking about now, and their entire society got around creating the Spartan warrior culture. Same thing.
Yeah, during that period of time, they were expected to murder innocent helots, just as part of a point system. So I'm not sure that's.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the Spartans. I wouldn't use this the most cold-blooded murderers.
Of monkey see, monkey do.
That the point in the thought exercise is for you to empathize with what it was living like thousands of years ago, and what it would have been like in their society, because they had a whole lot more things that they had to try to defend themselves against. Warring tribes, fucking nature, just living was just a survival exercise. So, those are all the thought processes that have already been gone through way before we even got here. That's why I study a lot of history, so that I can be able to understand a whole lot of different points of view. And that's how I end up landing where I land.
So if we're talking about children seeing a viral moment that their parents might have been in or something like that, and you're saying that responsibility terminates at around age 18 or something like that, there are...
I wouldn't say it terminates. I would say that it shifts.
Okay. So you're saying that responsibility starts when you yourself are much younger, because you don't know that you might be a parent one day? I don't know, if
when you
Trump saw those softcore porn photos that Melania made when she was younger, is that gonna cause him to become shift his expectations as to what a woman is, or is that the kind of argument that you're making?
Well, I mean, think about it. If you went into a relationship with somebody and you did not have any knowledge of this, softcore porn pictures or hardcore or whatever, right? You are completely unaware of this side of their life, and then you become aware of it, your perspective of that person is going to change regardless.
As soon as Trump decided to run, those images went viral. So he was I don't know, 10 at the time or something? I don't know.
So the perspective is going to change from not just the children, but from everybody around you as soon as that information becomes public. Or not even necessarily public, but, privately known, right? So that's just how it is.
How can you guard against these things 24/7?
Well, then you just have every decision that you make ultimately ends up becoming a fabric of your being. So it's important to be conscious of that as you make your way through life.
So, and this is something that's negotiated though between people who are in a relationship, right? So they, if you're going to have that, because I said earlier in the closed panel, this is something that shouldn't come up as a surprise in the middle of a relationship. People should know each other well enough if they're going to enter into a long-term relationship, that what the expectations are, right? That should at least be known.
Well, it depends on the definition of what long-term, how long you've been knowing each other, because you could be with somebody for years and not know something about a part of their life that they either just didn't mention, wasn't important because it was so many years before you got together.
You basically know roughly what the expectations of your partner for you are, and vice versa, right?
It depends.
You should know that.
It depends.
Well,
and the reason why I say that is because some people are not such good communicators, and because they're not good communicators, they may not be communicating what their expectations are. They may be happy to be in the relationship and the way that it's going, but not understand the dynamics that are actually at play. Like, an example, if you have, like in Spaniard's situation, right? You have a woman that's of faith, and you have Spaniard who is not, right? Whenever he speaks, though, I guarantee you that there's a thought process that goes in her mind if she disagrees with him, especially in front of the children. The thought goes into her mind, this is the example that is being set to the children. God has said that he is the authority in my life, and I don't even have to trust him. I have to trust God. Period.
Well, it could be even more simple than that. CTV, you've probably never had to tell your wife what to not to wear, right?
I tell you what, whenever there's been a question, I have answered honestly.
No, I ain't talking about the one where she's, she puts on that outfit and she says, "Do I look fat in it?" I'm not talking about that. I'm saying that have you ever had to really object to something because it was way outside of bounds?
Nah, my wife's pretty conservative.
Yeah, see, that's what I think that's what Rich is getting at, and I'm kind of getting at.
But that's also assuming that I haven't dated liberal women over the years, and there's been those situations where I've been dating.
Well, that's why you're not with them, though, right?
You damn right, because they act like a fucking hoe. They start acting like a hoe. What the fuck?
That's your words, but that's fine. But the point is, again,
it goes back to if somebody's wearing a police officer's uniform, would you assume that they're a police officer? Yes, you would. So if they're wearing a hoe's uniform, what would you assume they are? They're a hoe.
Well, I mean, the hoe's uniform. I don't even know where that. I know what a police officer looks like.
It's mandated by the union.
Uniform.
Oh yeah, the hoes of the union.
Usually led by a pimp.
Uniform.
What were you saying, Queen?
What is a hose uniform?
If I can see more, if I can see more skin than material covering your body, hoe.
True.
I guess I'm a hoe.
So is everyone at a beach?
I think CTV also referring to women like who wear stuff like strippers. That type of deal. But I'm not saying that a stripper is a hoe, but that
strippers are hoes.
I'm not saying that, but
I'm saying it. I haven't met a stripper yet that wasn't a hoe. As soon as I meet one, we'll have that conversation. But
I'm saying their outfit is of a whole content or slutty content.
They're definitely wearing the uniform.
They're one of the troops.
I just want to find out who the pimp is that's setting the uniform standard, because they all seem to be wearing the same shit.
Oh, the owner of the stripper shop.
Valor isn't in the hoe community. There is no stolen valor in the hoe community.
Oh my goodness, bro!
Wow. Okay. So
dress how she wants to dress, whether that be a lot of
they can absolutely
material or a little material. Like I said,
nobody's saying that you can't dress how you want to dress. Just don't get pissy whenever you get called a hoe.
Listen,
she gets pissy over nothing, so it's not hard to do.
I mean, listen, I've been in little clothing and I've never been called a hoe.
Well, you probably didn't have honest people around you. I don't know what to tell you.
Been a hoe, called a hoe.
You said she gets pissy over nothing, and then you called out her Islamic faith and failed to cite the verse you were talking about.
No, I didn't fail. No, I put the scripture. I didn't fail.
But we've been in like a pretty heated discussion. So if you guys want to talk about that real quick, Spaniard.
You guys were. Yeah, I agree. They were in a very deep conversation, so I didn't interrupt with it.
So go ahead and cite it.
Real quick, is that in the live?
It's in the general.
Okay, well, he posted Surah 33 verse 53 since he doesn't want to say it right now.
I'm sorry, I didn't. It's how you pronunciate it? Surah. Surah.
I still don't see the link.
33.
Well, he
Surah
sent it to
33
me in direct message.
Gotcha.
It said it, and when I googled it, it said Surah 33 verse 53.
Surah 33:53.
Yeah.
Oopsie, you said general, so I clicked the general voice chat by mistake. What was it?
Yeah.
Surah
Kai's general.
Let me.
The channel that you can post
anything.
anything.
A couple minutes, and I'll be back with an answer.
And there's more too. There's more that I listed where.
So we're just gonna not read it. Okay, that's good.
No, hold on.
Where
we can read it if we want to read it. We can read it.
People get upset. You can't spread religious propaganda on the stream.
I have nothing against putting a light on.
I just want to go get my Qurans and stuff real quick, and that's why I'm saying.
Where is it? I don't see it.
Wait, where did it go?
Where'd it go? Someone read it.
Wait, it's gone. It's not in your. Did somebody remove it from the chat?
Wait,
I don't think so. I'm
until I get back, please.
Yeah, I'm looking in general chat. All I see is a picture of a house.
Yeah, that's what I see.
I think it got removed.
Well, I'm looking at the link that you put in the chat, the QuranIslam.org, articles, women dress code. I'm looking at that right now, but it doesn't.
Okay, yeah, I'll read it. Okay, so I'll put it in your stream chat.
Just read it now.
Can I get
Okay, so in the Quran, right? So you got the Quran is the only source of law authorized by God, which is 6:114, and then you got the Quran is completely fully detailed, 638, 6:114, 689, 12:111, and then it speaks about. If you scroll down to where it says first rule the best garment, and it talks about the scripture 7:26. O children of Adam, we brought down to you garments to cover your private parts as well as for adornment. Yet the garment of reverence is the best. These are the signs of God's signs. Hopefully they may remember. Then it says something. Revering God is the most important guideline for women when they choose their dress. The righteous, reverent women will know that God is always watching her. She will therefore dress modestly and in line with God's requirements for decency and morality, and women knows full well what cloths are considered decent and what cloths are revealing. She will not need to be told. This is why God set the rule of reverence as the first rule. Then it says the second rule: cover your cleavage. This page is all from the Quran. So if you need a reference of it's all talking from the Quran. So the second rule can be found in 24:31. God commanded women to cover their cleavage. Before reviewing 24:31, it is necessary to address some key Quranic words which have been subject to manipulation by those who enforce non-Quranic dress rules on the women. Though the two words in question in 24:31 is hijab and khimar. I don't know how to pronunciate that. So they're making the distinction. The word hijab in Islamic practice versus its use in the Quran. The hijab is the term used by Muslim women today to describe their head cover. The Arabic word hijab literally means barrier or veil. Other meanings for the word hijab include screen, covering, mantle, curtain, drapes, partition, division, divider, or barrier. The word hijab is used 7 Quranic verses. The verses are.
Okay. Can we hold up for a second? Because I wasn't expecting a full dissertation. I was hoping we would get an exact surah or an exact verse.
Yeah, I did. It's all there.
No, you said 53:33, which is what I'm looking at, and none
33,
of what you read is
33:53.
Yeah. So Surah 33. Verse 53, I'm looking at that. None of what you just said is what I'm seeing. So you must be reading from a different citation than that. This is about the rules of entering somebody else's house. Like,
I found what you're referencing. It's 24:31.
Oh, okay, there you go. My bad. Okay.
Okay, 24:31.
It's still in the Quran, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can I think I could just link it.
Yeah, we're just trying to
link it.
Yeah, link it, bro.
We're just trying to be where you're reading from.
Right. What verse?
24:31.
24:31.
Is that the one that's more specific?
This is the one I was expecting.
This is your source. How do you not know?
This one, I love this verse because this speaks to the men and women. I love this verse.
Let's go.
So this says, tell the acknowledging women to lower their gaze and guard their private parts, and that they should not show off their attraction to accept what is apparent, and let them cast their clothes over their cleavage. Let them not show off their attraction except to their husbands or their fathers or their fathers or their husbands or their sons of their husbands or their brothers or the sons of their brothers or the sons of their sisters or their children that come after, or those that are still their dependents, or the male servants who are without need, or the child who has not yet understood the nakedness of woman. Let them not strike with their feet in manner that reveals that they are keeping hidden of God in their attraction. Repent to God, all of you acknowledgers, so that you may succeed.
So covering yourself is part of the Quran's rule and law.
Just means
written by God.
Yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't
written.
say specifically
But it's
how.
written.
It doesn't say specifically
but the verse.
how.
Wait.
Hold on.
It did talk about
Please let her
right?
speak. Can she speak?
Yeah,
Can she speak, please?
Like y'all asked me, right? And so like
So it's there.
it just
Proof.
says
Hold on.
to cover. It just says to cover yourself.
But that means you're not going to show skin.
Wait.
You're not going to show cleavage.
Please
You're
let
not
her
going to show your
speak.
skin.
That's not what it says.
Right.
Clearly
That's
said
not what
stop
it says. It just says.
Hey, look,
it
I don't know
just
how many
says
panels you guys
to
have been
cover
on, but
yourself.
whenever you do the sidebar comment like you do in the top left and other people try to get somebody else to shut up, all you end up doing is creating more confusion. Leith is leading the panel. He's done said to everybody, shut the fuck up and let her talk. Don't make me have to be this fucking guy.
Thank you, CTV. Continue, Queen.
Nothing. Of
Okay,
the
but
sort.
both
Okay.
versions, whether it was Spaniard or Queens, they both say cover your cleavage. So to say that there's no such rule in the Quran is
so
false.
we'll read here.
That's not what they say. They say
And
draw
say
veils
to the
over your chest. So
female, one who believes to lower their sight, keep their private parts, and not to show their let them draw their head.
There's more to
over
it in the
bosoms
verse
and
than
not
just cover
show
the
their
button.
adornments, but to their brothers, their fathers of their brothers, their brothers of their sisters, the sons of their brothers, the sons of their sisters, or what their right has possessed, or the ones who had need, imbued with no sexual desire among the men or the small male children, whom were not manifest nakedness in women. Let them not stump their feet of what be known that they conceal of their endurance. O turn to God to get altogether for forgiveness, or the ones who believe, so perhaps you will perspire.
Okay, so my understanding
that's
of this.
That's two different verses, right? That like show that you just have to cover yourself. That doesn't say anything specifically.
Well, if it's covering,
They're not. There's no statement. So wait, Spaniard. So what I'm looking for is a definitive showing that the Quran is claiming that they have to wear a niqab or a hijab, cover all of them, not show skin. That's what I'm looking for, and I'm not hearing this in this verse.
Oh,
so this
I
is insufficient.
Hey, Kai, there's a verse. Kai, I spoke. Remember,
As soon as everybody else shuts up, Leith, I'll talk to you.
Kai, I spoke about the verse about the hijab. Remember, it was in that one.
It wasn't there. I didn't hear that. Go ahead, CTV.
Which one?
Wait. CTV.
So what I heard in there specifically that made me go, I don't know why she's not seeing what's being written. I feel like that there's being a very literal, like it has to say this specifically, written like a law, right? Like don't skateboard on the sidewalk type situation. The overall meaning that I took from what was just read was that when it said not show what's already apparent, right? That women are the fairer sex. They are the object of sexual attraction. That's what I'm hearing in all of that, right? So, and I also understand that this is all being translated from Hebrew, I think, or one of the other older languages. Arabic, right? So it's being translated. So you have to understand at the same time that there's the culture associated with what's going on at the time. They're speaking very plainly, and what they're plainly saying is that women are the sexual objects in the world, and on the other side of that is the men that conquest. Okay? So from there, the guidelines told to women specifically are to cover yourself. Don't show cleavage as a very specific example. And then when they talk about hijabs, that are like veils to cover this, it's because every part of a woman was designed by God to be attractive to men. And to show that to anybody outside of your family circle is against God. So whenever you told me earlier that you could go out on a Friday night and show yourself to, anybody at the bar because you're going out with the girls, right? To me, you're going against God. So I don't see how you're holding your faith as serious as you might say whenever you would tell me that you would do that.
Response debate, Queen.
To women not men, how they will lower their dress, whether they will cover their breasts or not. It is a different thing to remind a monolith woman nicely to wear modesty for protection and perhaps for societal order. But using this issue to patronize and subjugate women is not what the Quran expects for us. Even worse than this, it is to impose the recommendation onto those women who are not Muslim, since it violates many more Quranic principles.
And that's why I would say that everybody's hold on. Everybody has an individual relationship with God, and God doesn't expect you to be controlled. God expects you to control yourself. So because you're controlling yourself, if you do something that you know is against God, then what will happen from society around you, because those people have their own individual relationships with God, is those people will attempt to correct you. And at that point, you will be controlled. And that's not what God wants. He expects you to control your own.
Wait,
exactly. Exactly. Your sin is your own. And because you're stepping outside of it and other people are seeing that you are sinning, if they care about you at all and your relationship with God, they will correct you. If they don't, then they don't care. And that right there.
I don't want anyone to correct me, and I'm not going to correct any other Muslim.
Okay.
Because
that's like one thing.
You're missing the whole point.
One sec, Kara. I have to give Debate Queen a chance to respond, then I'll get to you.
And me too.
Go ahead. You said I'm missing the whole point. What am I missing?
The point is that God is love, and if people love God, then they will not love when you are going against God.
Okay, Kara.
One thing I wanted to say was like, what Kiki Palmer was wearing actually abides by that scripture. She has on a bra, and then she has on like a thong, and then she has a veil. She literally is wearing a veil. She's wearing a thin veil over her cleavage and over her butt. It's pretty clear, like, these rules are like kind of flexible, and I've seen like Muslim women be able to express themselves in ways that you wouldn't expect based on these rules while still like following these rules. Like a good example is like what Kiki is wearing, like actually follows these rules directly. She has a veil over her cleavage and over her bottom.
So I can't say that he would know what the reference is.
Send him a picture.
But I agree with him. I agree with Cara in that sense. That,
I personally don't care what is.
Like some
hold on.
That's covering, then you're fine.
That is not what's being discussed right now. What right now is being discussed is the Quran. Okay, specifically. I don't give a fuck about this other example. That example is.
I think it matters.
It's completely out. Like, no. We're dealing with people on this panel, right?
You don't even know the example. You don't even know the example, and you're like,
because it's not on this panel, and I don't give a fuck about it. If I can't talk to that person, I'm not going to gain anything from the conversation. The point right now is that we have somebody on this fucking panel that just got through saying that it was okay to go out and act like a hoe with your friends because a kid ain't going to find out about it, and we have religious principles that are fucking being talked about. And you want to sit here and tell me about some other fucking example like I'm supposed to give a fuck about it? I don't.
Hippy dippy champion, people.
Fact. Oh yeah.
Now, I do want
to stand by my statement.
I need to slow down for a fucking moment, okay? Because I wasn't expecting to get this fucking heated right now. But when somebody wants to tell me that they have a principle in their religion, and then they want to tell me at the same time that it's okay to conduct themselves in that kind of way, that's not in any way, shape, form, or fashion holding to it. It doesn't, like, my relationship with God, it's been a fucking hard one over the years. Okay?
Are you crying?
I felt like he's called me to do things at different times, and sometimes I've had the courage to do them, and sometimes I haven't known how. Right now is one of those fucking moments where I feel like this is something that needs to be understood. Okay?
You can just take a breath for a second.
Wait,
just take a breath.
I appreciate his conviction.
I don't want him getting upset, like, you know, because
this is conviction. He's not upset. He is convicted.
I know he's convicted, but like it's hard to, you know. I don't want like people to misconstrue what he says because, you know, he's like, you know, he's emotional about it, and I don't blame him for it. Like I said, I agree with him on a lot of his points. And you've seen me get emotional about shit too. Yeah. And let me be honest, it's not always easy to make the words come out easy when you're in an emotional state. That's why I was saying maybe just take a breather for a second, and then come at your point with a more calmer mind, if that's okay with you. If you still want to go through with it, you're more than welcome.
Well, I appreciate the candid nature of his response in that moment. That was very genuine.
Okay, so I'll go, I guess. Okay, so what I'm saying is this is not about a niqab or a hijab. We're responding to what Debate Queen said about how you can go out looking like anything because you deserve the time to go out with your girls and do all this whatnot, and that doesn't mean anything. And that even though that she's religious and believes in the text from the Quran, even though when there are specific verses in the Quran that say things that would prohibit that, like, cover your cleavage, make sure you're dressing modestly, and whatnot, then she's like, no, that doesn't matter. Like, I can go out and wear whatever I want. It's a girls' night. Like, no, that's clearly contradictory.